Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, as I said, apologies for that. Had a little bit of a tech issue there to begin with. Couldn't get the tech working. Best laid plans of mice and men and all that. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for session 36 of our Wednesday Admirals webinar series on price action trading guide. And we're going to talk today about how to build a watch list for your price action trading plan. Great to have you all here. Sorry, we're a little bit late on the start. As I said, just a little bit of a tech issue there, but that's the world we live in at the moment. Anyway, I hope you're all well. I appreciate that we always have a broad range of experience of traders who join us for our sessions, from complete beginners to advanced traders. You're all very welcome. And whilst this session today will be aimed more at beginners, there'll be something for everybody to take away and think about. And I also recognize we have a truly global audience who join us for these English-speaking webinars. So wherever you are in the world, great to have you here. We hope you're all well. We hope you're enjoying these eventful times in eventful markets. And of course, we're Admirals, a Forex and CFD broker with global presence and local support, licensed and regulated across a wide range of regulatory environments, providing competitive spreads on the most popular trading products, allowing the opportunity to engage with markets using both the MT4 and MT5 platform, and also the Admirals Supreme Edition. If you have any questions about Admirals, please get in touch with your account representative and they'll be very happy to help guide you. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're talking about price action trading, but this is a little bit of a different one. Those of you who joined us last week, I said that actually over the next sort of month or two, I would be building in sessions about how we could work on and refine and improve our overall price action trading plan. And today, well, as the name implies, it's about understanding, why should we have a watch list? What should we have on it? And how can we utilize it? So we're going to talk about why is it important to have a watch list, what traders can do to help create a watch list, and what's the best way to use a watch list with your price action trading plan. This is going to be quite a simple introduction for new traders, but I'll be sharing some of my own experience, some of the elements that I do myself, and hopefully that will help you. It'd be great to know, of those of you joining us here live for today's session, how many of you actually have a watch list at the moment? How many of you actually sort of go towards curating and building a watch list of your own to work on? Or how many of you just open the charts and just trade what you see in front of you? It'd be great to know what your own experience is. Some people like to just trade what they see. Others will build a watch list. Okay, and it'd be great to know what other people's experiences have been. It always makes for a more interesting session. And as always, if there's time left over, we'll have a little look at the live markets, which I think would be useful based upon what we're talking about today. We'll see how we do for time. For those of you who still don't know me, my name's Paul, traded for many years, okay? I've traded for funds, traded for clients. Primarily, I like to focus on trading FX indices and commodities. I tend to be a trend trader for sort of swing and position trades, and I tend to be a reversal trader for my intraday trading as well, all of which comes into the sort of, the price action series, sharing all of those kind of elements with you. I don't think we need to do too deep an intro, but, really this webinar series is all being about helping people understand how they can just, learn price action and utilize that to both analyze markets and also to be able to engage and trade with them and to keep it as simple as possible. And it is really, as the name implies, all right, it's just a basic means of analyzing markets using the movement of price over time. It is popular with both retail and institutional traders, and I tend to focus on the kind of longer term elements of it, looking back over like 3 to 6 months, but can be even longer depending upon my time frame. But what we will find and what you'll realize is that I talk about, for new traders, learning price action is like learning a new language. It can be a little bit clunky, a little bit challenging at the start, like learning a new language, whether you're learning, French or German or Russian or Spanish, whatever. Okay, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And it's the same with price action. Think of it like, it's just it's understanding the basic language of trading in markets. And, the more you practice it, the better you'll become at it. And once you have that established, it's a really great bedrock. Okay, it's a really great starting point for you to go into all sorts of other trading directions. But if you're able to look at a chart, okay, and be able to sort of read price action and trade off it, that is a great skill to have that you will have for the rest of your days. And we've certainly covered an awful lot in this series so far, and I say it every week. I try to build in a bit of hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills being the ones that people love to see, okay, like setups, like engulfing candles, key reversals, inside bars, pin bars, etc. But also some of the soft skills, which new traders underestimate the importance of, but traders with experience realize, these are the things that help you turn you from a wannabe trader into an experienced trader with a good career, and that allows you to build a business. And that's the sort of stuff about things like understanding the importance of routines, how you manage your trades, okay, why you use checklists, etc. How you look to refine and improve your trading, how you utilize building a watch list for your trading. All of these things come in their own way, okay, and it's what you can do and take, and it all comes together to help you understand and trade price action, but also just evolve to being a better trader in yourself. So lots for us to talk about. And I always do a couple of slides on just basically our simple routine to begin with, all right? And I make no apology. The more times you hear it, the more it will sink into you, okay? Sometimes traders only need to hear something once, and they get it. Other times traders need to hear it again and again and again until it sinks in and becomes part of the way. And so we talked about how whenever you open a chart, whatever it is, copper, Bitcoin, euro, dollar, Apple, whatever, okay? What we do is step one, we define levels of horizontal support and resistance, monthly, weekly, daily. Just get them drawn in, okay? Because markets remember those levels, and markets will make a reaction at those levels, and that's what we're interested in. Step two, we want to define, is there a trend? And I say it every week, a good trend leaps off the chart at you. You don't feel the need to force it. If you are forcing it, then it probably isn't there. Step three is, we're looking to see how price reacts at those significant support and resistance levels, which might be the horizontal support and resistance levels you've drawn in at step one, might be things like a big round number, might be dynamic support and resistance from a couple of the moving averages that we utilize. Because what we're looking for is, if there has been a trend, well, we want to, if there's been an uptrend, we want to look to be buyers at support. If there's been a downtrend, we want to be sellers on rallies at resistance. That's what we're looking for. So when we get step four, seeing those particular price action triggers at those areas of interest, well, that's our entry. But we also want to be aware of, is it part of a bigger chart pattern? Step five, is it something like, maybe we're in a good trend, maybe it's been a pullback, maybe it's been printing a flag, or maybe it's been a long, strong trend and we're actually running into a head and shoulders pattern or a double top, etc. Something that might be just indicating that reversal is about to happen. We want to be able to just see the bigger picture as well. So, as I said, every those 5 steps, whenever you open a chart, just make sure you're doing those, okay? Time after time after time. And today we're going to look, mostly I'm going to sort of focus on FX when it comes to watch list, but what I talk about is relevant to everything. But, we talked about, okay, starting to have a little bit of a watch list. What do we focus on? We've got in FX world, the dollar index, and 28 of those major pairs, which you can see there, which is really the crosses against the major and minor crosses. We're also looking at the equity indices, the big American ones, S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and some of the other global ones. And we can also look at commodities like oil, gold, silver. Some people like to still look at trading equities. So, the FANGs are a good place to start with because they're those big US tech firms which have been performing very well recently as traders. And I appreciate all the people joining us are also crypto traders as well. So there's lots there, and I appreciate, if you are a new trader, well, that might be a little bit, you might think that's a little bit overwhelming, a little bit challenging, there's a bit too much there. And that's absolutely okay. What you tend to find is, what I suggest is when you start with, look at these, build these, but what will happen is, as you go through the rest of the steps we talk about is, well, invariably we're looking to focus. And actually what I tend to find is most people tend to sort of focus down on between about 2 to 6 instruments that they kind of like to focus on trading. But as a starting point, you kind of start with, let's say, a big broad canvas, and then actually, we sort of focus down on the detail as we go along on our trading journey. So that's our intro. Let's talk about building a watch list for our price action trading plan. As I said, we did a session last week, first of what will be a few sort of mixed in over the next few weeks and months about, improving and refining your price action trading plan. Okay. And as it says, we've been on our journey for a good few sessions now, and we've covered lots of topics, all of which are available on the YouTube channel. Okay. And that's a great thing about this particular series. All of them have been recorded. All of them are on the Admirals YouTube channel, so be sure to check them out. And you'll find there's also other good material there from my colleagues as well. But you can rewatch all of these sessions, and sometimes that helps. Sometimes, as I said, sometimes you need to hear it a couple of times for it to click. Okay, as I said, at the moment it's a great opportunity for us to have a few sessions to help us just refine and improve our price action trading plan. And today we're going to focus on building a watch list. Right? What does that mean? Okay, why would we bother to do that? How can it actually help us? So, I've stressed since the start of this series, and in fact, since I've been doing any of these particular webinars, that as traders, what we want to do is we want to learn to focus on, the elements that we can control. You can't control the markets, although I do sometimes see people try to control the markets, but it is about focusing on what we can control. And as a price action trader, that means planning your trades, trading your plan, managing your risk. All right. Those are the 3 things that all traders can do. It doesn't matter whether you've been trading for 2 days or 2 decades. All traders can do that. Plan your trades, trade your plan, manage your risk. And the question you have to ask yourself is, have you been doing that? All right. Be honest with yourself. You might not want to be honest with me, but be honest with yourself, I'd definitely say. And if you have been doing it, well, then how do we improve? Well, that's one of these sessions is about that, about, refining and improving our overall price action trading plan. So, when I talk about that, and as I said, plan your trades, trade your plan, manage your risk. Plan your trades is very easy to say. All right, it's a glib throwaway line, okay, that people can talk about in trading. How you should plan your trades, but as I said, it's easy to say, but I find from experience that many do not do it. All right, or many do not do it properly. All right, they kind of their whole trade planning is a little bit scant or ambiguous. Okay, so what could we do to help us with that, and why is it important? Well, one of the things we can do is start to build a watch list. And as I said, I'm going to keep it quite simple today as an intro, because I recognize that a lot of the people who are joining us here today, new traders, okay, just new to the journey, and we'll talk about, well, what can they do, okay, to take it away. And I'll share some elements of my own, okay, and what I do, and hopefully that might help you or give you a little bit of insight and inspiration about what you can do yourself. So I suppose the first question would be, or what many people might ask is, well, okay, Paul, if I'm building a watch list, why bother? All right, well, what point is that to me? I can just basically open up my trading platform. I can just see, which of the charts are moving the most, or moving the most volatile at that time, and I'll just chase that, Paul. Well, that's okay, all right, but that's not really the way solid, experienced traders are operating. Okay, what they're doing, remember what I said, they're planning the trades, they're trading the plan, they're managing the risk. And so as part of that planning the trades, they will have a watch list, which we'll go more and more into throughout the rest of the session. But when you look about, well, why bother? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but a few of them are, it gives you focus. It's very easy to open the platform and just be overwhelmed by, just an absolute tsunami, okay, of charts and data and candles and stuff, and and just it's easy for traders to get a little bit overwhelmed, and either they become a little bit intimidated and they go through a bit of analysis paralysis, or they go the other way and they lose control and they just start mashing the keys. They're like a little bit of a deer in the headlights, just running all over the place. All right, but actually starting to have a watch list gives you a little bit of focus, okay, because you start to focus on the instruments that you should actually be looking at, and on the flip side of that, it helping you keep you focused by working out what you shouldn't be looking at, actually, by what you shouldn't be looking at. Gives you a bit of purpose, okay? At the start of the day, okay, creating a watch list, curating it throughout the day and throughout the week gives you a little bit of purpose. And that focus and that purpose is what helps keep you on plan, all right? We want to plan our trades, helps us keep us on plan. And invariably, when we are on plan, this is what tends to lead to success. I see lots of traders, literally they've no plan, they've no watch list. They just literally flip open the chart, just, trade whatever's moving the most, what's most volatile that morning, and then wonder why they struggle. So it's time for you to evolve as a trader. If that's the way you've been operating, it's time for you to evolve. It's time for you to start to move away from that style of operating towards being a much more focused operator in terms of, the way you can operate and the way you can conduct yourself in your trading. So if we understand that our focus and reasons for doing it, well, then we want to understand, well, actually, how do we do it? Okay, how do we do it? That's the sort of, that's what we're particularly looking at. Okay, so William asked the question, do you think that Singaporean dollar is going up or down? Thanks, William. That's a bit outside. Okay, that's a bit outside the remit of today's session. What we'll do is, if there's time at the end when we look at the live charts, we can have a little look at that. Okay, but as I said, thanks for the question, but it's a little bit outside our remit of what we're looking to focus on today. But what I want to talk about is building watch lists. Okay, and as I said, I'm going to keep it very simple, very intro. All right, as I said, the question to ask yourself is, have you actually been creating a watch list as part of planning your trades and trading your plan? So if we're going to talk about how we do it, well, I tend to do two. Okay, I tend to have an overall weekly watch list, but then I also have a more focused daily watch list. No surprise. Okay, I do quite a bit of my analysis at the weekend. I take a couple of hours, sit down, and go through my overall analysis. I'll show elements of it, all right, and where that focus comes from. And then I'll break it down into a daily watch list, and I'll share small elements of that as well with you, just to show that it can be done. Okay, and that there is, there's no excuse. All right, it's not that hard, it's not that difficult to do. Okay, but it's worth it in terms of what you're looking to focus on. So when it comes to a watch list, your watch list can be as big and as broad as you particularly would like. But for my watch list, at the start of the week and at the start of every day, and if I'm intraday trading at the start of each session, so I might be intraday trading in the morning in the European session, or I might be doing it in the afternoon in the US session. What I want to basically have on my watch list, okay, and acting as giving me focus, giving me purpose, helping me evolve to be the best trader. First thing I'm always looking at is, right, what are the important news events ahead? So at a weekend, I'm looking at, right, what are the big news coming out for that week, so I can mark them on my calendar, so I can be just aware of them. And also, on a start of a daily basis, I'm looking at, right, well, I'm just reminding myself, what is the big news that's coming out today? Or if I'm sitting down for a session, if I'm trading like tomorrow, Thursday afternoons, okay, very often I will trade a US session. Okay, and so just sit down and just make myself aware of, right, what is the important news that's coming out this session. It's really important about that, and we're going to look at that in a moment. I have my trade plan watch list. Okay, what am I actually going to focus on, right, and what am I looking to achieve? And another thing that's on my watch list, which many people might not have or may not consider, which is my trader development watch list, what that really is, and we'll go into it a little bit more. It is about me having a watch list of things that I need to be working on that week to help keeping me progress as a trader. Now, some people might say, well, you've been doing this for years, Paul. So, why would you need to develop? What do you need to do? But the difference is actually you never stop learning as a trader, all right? You never stop learning as a trader. It doesn't matter whether you've been trading for 2 days or 2 decades. You can always improve as a trader. You can always, ensure that you're maintaining really good standards as a trader, because if you don't, the market will humble you, okay? And actually just ensuring that, invariably that you're always working at trying to be the best trader that you can be, regardless of how long you've traded, is one of those things that helps keep standards high. It helps keep you working, successfully, and it's all the sorts of feeds into being the best trader that you can be. And that's what I'm always working towards on every day, and it's everything that I would hope and want for those of you who are joining us for our sessions here, okay, that it all contributes towards you being the very best trader that you possibly can be. So, as I said, on my watch list, I will have those elements, and I'll have that on a weekly and a daily. So I'm going to share some elements of mine, but parts of mine are actually handwritten, okay? So I have overall, I utilize some tools, I utilize some spreadsheets, and I also have a piece that I write down, and there is no what's the word? There is no script that says you have to do it like that. It's the best way for you personally. I just find a couple of elements for myself. Actually, physically writing them down is better for me. Maybe that's because I'm of that generation. But I also find if I write things down, it tends to stick with me. There's more stickiness. I tend to focus on it more, as opposed to if I just type it all into a Word document or a Google Doc or something like that. So I will share the bits that I've got on the computer here with you. But as I said, some of the elements I just write down there next to me, because that's what works best for me. Okay, and part of it is about refining and improving your price action trading plan. Is really about being able to do that. What actually works very best for you. So first and foremost, as I said, is on that watch list, important news events ahead. That's what we're looking for, isn't it? Important news events, and what I want to be able to do is to focus on the high profile news ahead for that week. There is, even in the lean weeks, there is always, a plethora of data coming out, okay? Economic data that is coming out. I think as a private trader, you cannot keep on top of every bit of data, okay? And I always say to new traders that, for new traders, I do not expect you to be analyzing economic reports, okay? Maybe you've got a background in that, in which case you can do, but as a new trader, I don't expect you to be able to analyze the data report, what the CPI is or what the NFP is, but I do expect you to know when that news is coming out, because that news is what's going to bring volatility into the market, and that volatility, that volatility is a great thing when you're on the right side of it. It's the wind in your sails. But when you're on the wrong side of it, or misunderstood it, well, then invariably it can make for a challenging trading session. So it's important to know what the news is, and there's no real excuse these days, ladies and gentlemen, okay? There is lots of economic calendars available across the internet. There's even one on the Admirals Markets website itself. You can see there's a link there, okay? Even if you just go onto the web page, you might actually, I'll have a little look at that later and bring it up. But you can bring it up there. You can filter it, okay? For you can filter it on a calendar basis. You can filter it on a country or block basis. You can filter it on data basis. And I tend to basically just have it looking at what we can see here is I'm just personally interested in the really high impact news, okay, which on the Admirals website is basically it's the you can see there by the sort of 3 red dots. That's indications its importance. And at the start of the week, okay, I will be looking at it and making sure I'm aware of it. At the start of each day, I will review it, okay, just to make sure I'm aware of what's coming out of the day. And as I said, even as I'm going into a session, I will look at it and what particularly is what particularly is of importance and interest as well. So these things are really they're really important. Okay, make sure you're doing it, as I said, at the start of the week and the start of the day, so that you're not caught on the wrong side of the news. Because there's nothing worse than you putting on a position just in front of some major news, because there will be some volatility in that. But that would cause that could cause you some challenges. Why would you want to step in front of a freight train? Okay, that rarely ends well. All right, for human beings, and it's the same in trading. Why would you want to step in front of big major news announcements? I'm not saying you can't do it, but what you'll find is most good successful, long-term, sustainably successful private traders aren't doing that. Okay, they're not doing that. So just make sure you know what that news is coming out ahead. Okay, it takes less than 2 minutes. Okay, but it is really crucial. All right, and so that should be on one of your watch lists. Right, that should be on one of your watch lists. Should be on the part of your, let's say, almost like your pre-trading checklist. Important news event ahead, and as I said, there's the link there. Okay, but you can find it on the Admirals website. It's not difficult to find. Okay, so make sure you're doing that, and if you're not, please start. All right, please start. Then my kind of next element that I'm looking at and going into is about my weekly watch list. Okay, my weekly watch list. So what have I got on that? What am I working with? Well, I will have my overall trade prime watch list, but that comes out of me spending, to be fair, it's between 1 to 2 hours every weekend just going through the charts and building my watch list. I actually, and I talked to this about my own clients, is that even though I have tech plugins that can actually do it for me, I still prefer to do it by hand at the weekend. And maybe that's a sign of my age, but actually what I've just learned over the years is that when I do it by hand and have to fill in the forms myself, I find that I have a better connection with the market. I'm much more able to sort of pick up changes in markets. I'm much more able to understand understand the kind of the narrative, the sentiments, and I just found that it's best practice for me. Okay, it's part of my routine. It's best practice. What it does is it sets me up for the week ahead. Okay, it gets my head back in the game. All right, I've had a couple of days off for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then just basically I'm getting back focused towards the working week, the trading week ahead, and it helps me start to put in. And so this is one of the basic elements of what I do myself, and I just literally do it for all of the FX pairs, okay, and I'm looking to work out, okay, where there are particular strengths and weakness within FX markets, and within that, then just starting to sort of to delve into to see whether it's a particularly strong buy or a sort of a weak sell. So I have that as part of my own overall trading method, okay, which is what I do. But I'm also sort of just making a note of, okay, with my own kind of code, what I should want to be looking at there. So, for example, for this week, with lots of the sterling pairs, sterling and euro pairs, there was lots of weekly pin bars, weekly dojis, both bullish and bearish. And I would just basically be wanting to make a note of that, because that starts, as I said, to focus what I'm looking at when I go to sort of my swing trading later on, and when the markets open and I start to work into the week. So, this is, as I said, this is what I start to do at my weekly watch list. Okay, just basically going through those charts, all of those charts there, right? Just looking at on the weekly, and the daily, and the 4 hourly, just starting to identify, which ones are in a trend. Okay, which ones are consolidating. As I said, I've developed over the years my own little code. Okay, my own little way of doing that, and the whole idea of that is that I can immediately start to recognize where, if I just look where, for me, okay, on the euro side, there's lots of sell signals there, and on quite a few of the Aussie and Kiwi pairs, we're now starting to get buy signals coming through. Okay, so as I said, that helps me just start to see the big picture, to focus on where I want to be doing, then looking at what maybe particular setups might be, okay, and what I want to sort of keep an eye on and watch it, and it starts to allow me to sort of, as I said, just focus on. So if there are, as I said earlier, there's sometimes it is good to focus on what you should be doing, but it's also enormously helpful to focus on what you shouldn't be doing, okay? Because, as I said, you can open up charts, you can look at, and actually, basically, you could just basically trade whatever you see in front of you. But if it's not part of your plan, it's just easy for you to get pulled away, okay, from your plan, and easier just for you to basically be sort of led into the temptation of just impulsive off-plan trades, okay, just basically chasing the market, chasing volatility. And as I said, that rarely ends well. And then, when I take it into every day at the start of every morning, okay, I take it a little bit even further and I go down, okay, because, I've had that big weekly picture. What I'm now looking at is I'm going down to sort of like the daily and the 4-hourly charts, and I'm starting to really focus on, where is the strength, where is the weakness, what am I looking to achieve, what am I looking to focus, because that kind of watch list gives me focus, gives me purpose, and the most important thing is that it's the most efficient use of my time and resources. So I can start to look at really looking at what I want to sort of almost like zero in on, okay, in terms of particular currencies, and particular sort of currency pairs, all right, and look at how that is working. And I have for this, whilst I have my watch list, I also have, as I said, I've got the plugin in the morning that I'm able to do that myself and to focus. But I'm still looking at particularly, okay, where's the strong buys, where's the strong sells, based upon my own trading method, and looking at that. As I said, that will look at me, how I focus my particular time and effort. So, when I look at this here, okay, in the mornings, there's lots of Aussie pairs there, and I'm starting to get lots of Aussie buying signals, okay, which is it's been coming over the last couple of days. That's changed because of as we ran into the RBA, sort of the Royal Bank of Australia interest rate announcement, okay. But my watch list, my method is basically starting to tell me that, it's starting to get me to focus on that, and that's what I'm particularly interested in. And so, as I said, it's the most efficient use of my time and resources, and that's what I'm particularly keen on. So what I'm doing in terms of my own watch list is that every morning, okay, when I'm opening up, I'm checking my open positions that I will have. I'll check for any news that has had like an overnight reaction. Maybe there was, like, because I'm here in Europe, maybe there was interest or news that came out in Australia or New Zealand or China or Japan, and I'm looking to see how did the market react to that. Okay, that's just because that will all feed into my overall watch list and plan. Looking, as I said, checking for the news for the day ahead. I'm checking my trade plan. Right, has anything changed in terms of what I should be focused at? And also, I want to check in on my trader development plan. All right, what I'll call my TDP. All right, my trader development plan. What are the things that I need to also just be aware of in the way I look to walk through? So, as I said, when I speak to lots of traders, okay, or mentor them or work with them, I find quite a few of them will have a watch list of sorts, but it's not very refined. It's not very focused. It's just basically what they want to look at. And few, if any of them, have a trader development watch list as well. And this is about what are my development points for the week ahead. Okay, what are the couple of things that I just need to keep an eye on? What do I need to watch out for in my own trading? And that tends to come out of my weekly review. So I'll do a review at the end of the week. Not just on my trading results, but actually, how my trading's gone, how I've been operating again in the markets. What were in the 4Ms, okay, what were the markets like? What was my method like? What's my money management like? How was I myself, okay, managing those 4Ms? So, and I will always have a little list of, like, what have I done well? Well, if I say some stuff, these are very, very high end. What have I done well? I always plan my trades. I always trade my plan, and I always manage my risk. That's the core of who I am. That's the basic acceptable standard in terms of how I look to operate. For this week, looking at, well, what do I need to remove? And a repeat offender for me is like non-trading distractions, namely, when I'm sitting down to trade, is just basically shutting out the rest of the world. And I'm quite good at it. But invariably, there are invariably distractions. Okay, that might be life, family. That might be just other business related issues. That might be personal things that just come. That sometimes those are distractions. And it's a repeat offender for me. I find it's something that I have to personally manage myself. Okay, and it's something I need to be aware of. All right, it's, just basically, when I'm sitting to trade, I'm sitting to trade. Nothing else matters. It really is a case of nothing else matters, especially when I'm intraday trading. And I just need to sometimes get better and remind myself to make sure that I'm cutting out any of those distractions. And one of the things I need to work on, right? This is from my own thing. What do I need to work on? is being more aggressive when the stars align. That's a personal thing. That's not something I'm suggesting you should do. That's a note for me. All right, to be more aggressive. Okay, when stars are aligned. All right, and that's it's a good work towards. Okay, and these are just, as I said, these are like high level, high end. I've actually got little bits of notes and plans I put into that, but just for the purpose of today, I would say that, have this on your watch list. Have your little trader development watch list. Okay, what have you done well? Okay, what do you need to remove? What do I need to work on? Okay, and it doesn't actually have to be a long list. If anything, I think it's probably best to just have 3 things. All right, just have 3 things. Just basically, what have I done well? What do I need to remove? What do I need to work on? Because it just allows you to constantly work towards getting better every session, every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. Because that's the name of the game. Okay, that's the name of the game. So it would be interesting to know if those of you watching us here, joining us today, if you've been looking at that, if you've got a watch list, do you have a trader development element of that on your watch list, what you need to watch out for in yourself? And if you haven't, well, it might be something you might want to take away and add. Okay, just simple, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be, you don't have to, write 10,000 word essay on it. A couple of bullet points might just be enough just to keep you focused. Remember, it's giving you a bit of focus, a bit of purpose, making sure you're doing the right things session after session after session. And that's where we want to be in terms of being a disciplined, effective and consistently successful trader. So here's a bit of homework for you then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at your present trading plan. All right. If you don't have one, well, then now's the time to start. Okay, that's fine. What was past was past. It's a case for you to make a decision today that you're going to work out and start to build a trading plan. All right, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get started. And as part of that plan, in terms of planning your trades, do you presently have a watch list? Okay, do you really have one? If not, just make a promise to yourself to start. Okay, that you can start from tomorrow. Just basically, I'm just going to make a promise to myself that I'm going to create a watch list. That part of it makes sure that I invariably always checking the news. Okay, understanding the news, working out what my trade plan is. Okay, what am I focusing on? What am I looking for? Okay, and that's as I said. Not only is it helpful to focus on what you should be doing, it's actually good to remind you of all the other stuff that you should not be doing. Okay, all the other maybe instruments that you shouldn't be focused on. These are my watch list based upon what fits my trading method, and I appreciate people have different trading methods. All right, but also a trader development element. Okay, just to put it in there. Okay, just an extra page, extra sheet. I don't really care or mind if you do it on a Google Doc or an Excel, or if you're like me writing it down next to you. I don't mind that. The important thing is you do it, right, and stick to it. And what I think you'll find is, especially in the trade development element, if you're doing that, reviewing yourself weekly, what you'll find, you do that for a quarter, right? Do that for effectively, 12 to 14 weeks. Then what you'll find is that I guarantee it, all of these things will just start to help you just get a little bit tighter as a trader, just get a little bit brighter, smarter, a little bit more focused, a little bit more on purpose in terms of what you're trying to achieve. And all of those things will help you enormously. And as I said, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get started. All right. That's the important thing. So in conclusion, all right, price action is it's a way of analyzing markets using the movement of price over time. It's very simple, all right. And what we're looking for is we're always looking for triggers at significant levels, prices, or zones. And that is what allows us to build a simple price action trading plan. And as part of helping us refine and improve our overall price action trading plan, we should have a watch list, and it should include the news announcements, for that week ahead, for that day ahead. You should also have your trade plan. What am I looking at? What am I going to be focused on? And also, all right, include a trader development plan. What are the 3 things that I need to just work on this week just to improve? Okay, and just watch out that I'm doing that and I'm focusing on it. So doesn't need to be perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Just start, okay? Just start, put one together and start using one. So we're a little bit overrun, but maybe we'll have a little minute or two and just have a little look at what we're doing. But before we do that, don't forget to join us next time, okay? Next week, Wednesday, 14th of June. All right, we've got the next of our series, and this is what we're going to be talking about. Session 37 is actually how to trade news events using price action. Okay, so we'll talk about why is it popular. for traders to talk about news events, want to trade them. What can traders do to help themselves when trading news events? What's the best way to use price action around news events? So this is kind of more of a hard skill session next week, okay, about price action around news events. That is 2:00 London time, Wednesday, 14th of June. Check your inbox for the webinar link or head over to the website and ensure that you sign yourself up for that, okay, that you'll be able to work with. As always, if you've got any questions or comments or thoughts, okay, that you'd like to for us to look at, you can just see there's the email address there, okay, drop that in. We'll happily take any feedback. There'll be a little sheet sent to you after this session. By all means, ping that away and stuff, and you'll be able to take that on board. Then also, as I said, all of these sessions are recorded. They're all on the Admirals YouTube channel there. You can see it there, okay, and also on Facebook as well. So if you've missed any of the ones, the previous ones, or if you want to repeat or just go through them again, you'll have access to them all there. Okay, so let's just, I've got a minute or two, so what we're going to just do, we'll just switch across, okay, and we'll overrun a little bit, but hey, I apologize, we were a little bit late starting because of the technology issues, but that's the way it goes, So just bear with us a moment, and we'll just switch across to the chart, so just bear with me. Right, let's have this up here, we'll be on here, bang. Okay, so, what I was saying is, remember I was saying that, I had a weekly list, a watch list, and I go down to a daily watch list, and they kind of work together, they align, okay, and I'm looking at it, and I said that, I noticed when I was doing my, my work at the weekend, just recognize, what were the big picture, the big candlesticks, okay, in terms of what were they doing, and in particular, I was interested in things like here we go, the pound against the Canadian dollar last week, okay, that printed this really big bearish, okay, bearish pinball there off that weekly 200 period moving average. So I know that that's on my list. So every day, I've been just looking at it this week, waiting for it, okay, hoping to want to be able to trade in line with that, and I was already interested after last week's big double top there, okay, and come down, and then actually what I'm waiting for is that double bottom price to sort of come back up to an area where I want to effectively to basically look at sort of joining that trend if it starts to re-exert itself. So I'm kind of stalking that, okay, nothing for me to do at the moment because it already made a big move. I'm just waiting to see if there is a significant pullback, and then I'll be looking to sort of engage with that. Even the pound against the Australian dollar, here we go, it was on my watch list to look. And why was it on my watch list? Well, because I was doing my analysis, what I was interested in is last week, what we did is at this big round number, remember we talk about, making sure we're aware of that big round number of 190. Okay. That's where we were. We pinged that big round number, which is it's a sort of what I call a bigger strike zone for me. It's also part of a double top, and I was interested to watch that. And remember I was saying, for me, the Australian dollar was starting to strengthen as it ran into its news. So that was on my watch list to basically to watch and work with that, and to see how that has basically played out on that. So bang, and so yeah. So once again, I'm watching this now. I'm just basically I'm effectively just stalking this after it's. This is what this peaked out to it last week. Now I'm just watching this and looking. We're actually being a bit bullish here, but it's no surprise because it wouldn't suppose we've had a little bit of move, and I'll be waiting for a pullback for them to basically to see if there's an opportunity for me to get short on that. So that's all coming out. I've just got to sit and watch and wait, okay. But I know what I'm focused on. I know what I'm particularly focused on to look at, as opposed to avoiding some of the other elements that are just basically are not of interest to me. Okay, just not just trying to trade everything. I'm just, as a swing trader, I'm just particularly focused on some interesting elements. So I had in my notes there about pound against Swiss franc. This is a weekly chart here. It has just literally been sat on that 111 level, okay, and has acted as real support for almost a year now. But actually last week, what happened was we actually, we had a really strong sterling, weak Swiss franc week, and what we saw was actually lots of interest to me. And what was from my notes is that we basically closed above the 50 period moving average. Why is that? Why would that be of interest? Well, when I zoom out, and look at that, well, that's the first time we've actually had a close above it, all right, since back in, what's that, around about, it's about September, August 2021. So, we're looking at over 18, 20 months. Now you're looking at is that an example of this could be the change, a significant change in trend, okay, significant change in trend for the Swiss franc. And so I'm watching that this week to see how it plays out, okay. We had the big push up, okay, and then this week we've come back, and now what I've been interested in looking at my trade is basically here, all right, just here, okay, just basically looking for it to come back. And then what we've had is, we've had pin bells here, and in particular earlier today, that's what's looking at trading there, basically just looking to take that move, all right, to basically to join the existing stronger trend, which has come out based upon just looking at my price action. And that's just come from my watch list, all right, just come from just doing the work and basically watching and being ready to work with that, okay, as on my swing watch list. So I think Bank Osman said, what do you think about smart money concepts, strategy for trading price action? Thanks a lot, Paul. Good question, Osman. Actually, I do think they can help. I do think that they can add value. I think sometimes people get a little bit overly excited about them and thinking that they are a panacea, that they're the end, the cure to all ills. That they're not. They're just in some respects, some of them are just different forms of terms, concepts, ideas, price action, identified in a different way. But I think that definitely they can actually have value when they're added together. And it is something that we've talked about maybe as later on in the year, we'll maybe do elements on some smart money concepts. Okay, we'll do elements of that and look at how they cross over with price action to help you. So stay tuned. So be sure to keep coming along. All right, okay, and we'll happily bring that in. All right, there, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we've overrun a little bit there, so I apologise for that. But that was due to the tech fault at the start, and so I apologise for that. Thank you for your patience and sticking with us. I hope you found that useful. I hope that's given you a little bit of insight into the importance of a watch list and how you can create one, and actually how you can start to utilize it in your own trading. If you're not utilizing one, start today. Doesn't need to be perfect. Just get started, and as you work with it, you'll trial and refine it to help you be the very best trader that you can be. So with that, great to have you here. Remember, next week's session, next Wednesday, we'll look about trading price action around news events. Be sure to join us there, okay? And as always, I wish you the very best of success in your own trading, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you have a fabulous trading week, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.